الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا أما بعد. Your brother Muhammad Andalusi. In this video I wanted to talk about what did I learn about the life and death of Shaykh Rabee Al Madkhali rahimahullah. For those of you who don't know, Shaykh Rabee Al Madkhali is a Saudi Arabian scholar, very known, I would say even very controversial, the صح الكلام أو التعبير. And to be honest with you, I've never met him. I have never read more than maybe a few pages of his books. I came to know through him through brothers, and the first time I heard his name, I was coming from Munufiyya, from the village where Sheikh Raslan in Egypt lives. This was 2011, I think 2012 or 13 even. And I remember I was sitting next to the director of the Arabic school that I was learning at that time, which was in Alexandria. Don't ask me for the name, it's closed down. And then behind us, there was another student who studied in Yemen, in Ma'bar. And they started speaking about a particular audio that was released by Shaykh Rabee in the past, in the earliest previous Thursday from that day. And they started arguing and going back and forth. At that time, all I knew it was a little bit of Arabic. I didn't know much about the religion. I just started practicing less than 2 years before that. And so for me, everything was a learning curve and a learning moment. So they started arguing about how Shaykh Rabee, he released an audio about another sheikh in Yemen named Shaykh Yahya Al-Hajuri. And they started arguing about how the director was saying, yes, Shaykh Rabee, he said Shaykh Yahya Al-Hajuri is such. And then the other student would say, yeah, but you cannot talk like that about the sheikh because he's been given da'wah, he's been, accredited by Shaykh Muqbil Al-Wadi'i, rahimahumullah. And they started going back and forth. Obviously, like I said, I didn't understand much. When I was a student in Egypt, active day-to-day type of student, I was never caught up in this type of situations, and I was always all ears in this type of situations. But just to say that this was the first time I heard the name of Shaykh Rabee Al Madkhali. Now, after this conversation, this controversy in between these two sheikhs started to spread like wildfire in Egypt. It started to cause division. It started to cause sectarian types of thoughts while we were in Egypt. So if you were seen with a brother, then you was, a bunch of other brothers, they would start giving you salams. And if you gave salams to some other type of brother, then you would be on the other side, and other brothers, they would stop giving you salams and dealing with you. And to be honest with you, and وَلَا نُزَكِّي على الله أحدا and أعوذ بكلمات أنا. But at that time, one thing that Allah Azza wa Jal blessed me with is being able to see these things from the bench, read the social backs and forth happening between brothers and between all those brothers, or actually even sisters, and seeing all the division, seeing all the different arguments. But Allah blessed me to stay focused on my studies. And so this fitna and this controversy in between these two sheikhs started, and brothers, like I said, I was very, very, laid back. I'm just doing my thing. I'm trying to learn Arabic. I'm trying to memorize the Quran. I'm trying to, get over these books. Then the brothers, they didn't like that. They didn't like that I was laid back. Like they wanted to know who you with. And they started coming at me, asking me, basically, what do I have to say about these two things that are going on? Like I said, I didn't understand much what was going on. So I said, well, I don't really have an opinion in this matter. I don't really care, to be honest. But obviously, with the brothers that I was hanging around with and I was studying with, they would be on a side, and there were some other brothers that I was cool with as well. They would be on another side. And so they started to refute me based on that, based on the fact that I'm not clear, to the point where the director of Arabic institutes, like for example Al-Ibana, bless the brother, they started to refute me, or say to not be around me. And the thing they use, they would say that I'm a sponge. Like I be around anybody, I take from any brother, and I be around any brother. And all I wanted, it was study and be cool with anyone. I don't want no problems. And the reality is that a good solid 2 years, this whole thing was going on, to the point where they were testing people methodology and people understanding of Islam through what he has to say about this Shaykh Rabee Al Madkhali, or in this case the other Shaykh Yahya Al Hajuri. So like I said, as of now, I'm still on that same type of mentality where I'm laid back. I don't really care about all of these type of controversies. It doesn't, I don't know these shuyukh. I have never learned with them. I just know that inshallah their ajr will be with Allah if they were good intended. And at the end of the day, everybody has mistakes. Everybody has perhaps personality shortcomings, and shuyukh as well, they can feel a type of way towards another person and beef with another person and have personal issues with another person that then translates into these big controversies. So the point was that when this controversy happened in between these two sheikhs, like I said, some brothers, they were forcing me to, they really wanted me to know about it. They really wanted me to take a side. And I would act the curious, I would do the whole curiosity thing, like, okay, but what this sheikh said? And then the brothers, they would tell me, no, I'm telling you, this sheikh said this, and he believes that, and this and that. And in my mind, I would be like, that's crazy. Like that don't even sound like a Muslim would do that. They would say like he insults the Sahaba, he like literally curse and insults. Like the brothers, they would use very dramatic language. When I would listen to these brothers from the outside, while I was busy taking my durus and doing my lessons, in my mind, it gave me a perception of the two sheikhs. And at one point, it was getting so serious. I remember hearing brothers fighting on these, brothers getting stabbed based on this type based on this controversy and based on these beefs, brothers getting stabbed. And so based on this, I started to after probably like a year and a half, 2 years, I started to actually look into it. At that time already, my Arabic I had completed the whole 12 levels, I think it was, in that markaz with excellent grade, bifadlillah. And then I went into Al-Azhar University. I did the 4 years of high school in Arabic in 1 year. And so my Arabic was quite solid in comparison to these other brothers. And I remember these brothers, they would come to me and I would ask them, okay, well, what did the sheikh say? And then they would say, no, he said this, he said that, he said this. And then when I started to be a little bit more curious, and I actually sat down and gave some time to these type of situations, I started listening to both sheikhs and what they say. And I listened to them in Arabic. And I realized that these brothers, first of all, when these brothers, they would tell me, yeah, the sheikh said this, the sheikh said that, in my mind, I knew these brothers, and I knew their Arabic wasn't even that good for them to even understand at that level. Not out of arrogance, but I just generally just speaking with the brothers, you can tell their Arabic is not that developed. So when I listened to the audios, I realized that it was exaggerated. The way how I was receiving the information, it was exaggerated, and it made me realize, like, subhanallah, if I didn't know Arabic, I would have been just confused, and I would have adapted this character that these brothers have, which at that point, it was every Muslim that you see in street, all of these students of knowledge in Egypt, all of them are misguided, and all of them, you shouldn't talk to them until proven that they are upon the sunnah, meaning they like this particular sheikh, right? And this will happen from both sides. Like, they will approach this like this. So you will go to certain masajid and you enter the masjid and you literally feel the tension, like brothers looking at you side-eyed, like it was literally being part of a gang. So that made me realize, and amongst the things that I learned from the life of Shaykh Rabee Al Madkhali, it was this phenomenon. And it was so interesting, so intense, so dramatic. So it was just so much going on. Like it would generally not let you sleep at night if you was actually involved in this type of situations. So from that time, I realized how important learning the Arabic language was, and how vulnerable I would have been in those type of situations if I didn't know the Arabic language. There was another situation with these same type of problems too, where before I went to Al-Azhar and applied to Al-Azhar University, having conversations with brothers, I would tell them I want to go to Al-Azhar University. And they would dramatize the whole thing, saying that, they're Asha'ira, and if you go there, we're not going to talk to you anymore, and you're going to be misguided, you're becoming weird, these, that. So what I did at that time, I had learned the Arabic language already. So I called Shaykh Hassan Marzouk Al-Banna. Not Shaykh Hassan Al-Banna, the one that's involved in politics, but Shaykh Hassan Marzouk Al-Banna, who was, for 20 years, he was a teacher in Medina University and taught in Masjid al-Haram as well. And so I called him myself and I asked him, Ya Sheikh, first I asked him about Al-Azhar. I said, if I want to go to Al-Azhar, I'm a student, I know these languages, I want to get my translation diploma. He said, yes, even if you want to go there and benefit from Usul al-Fiqh, from fiqh, you can greatly benefit from Al-Azhar. So yes, I would recommend you to go. And I was like, that was a little bit too easy. So then I started to compare when I talk to brothers and when I talk to actual scholars and like grown, wise men who have learned. Another situation happened as well, which was a controversy, which is not directly related to Shaykh Rabee, Shaykh Yahya Hajuri, rahimahullah al-Jamia, but is related to Shaykh Muhammad al-Imam. Allah yahfadhu. He's a sheikh as well in Yemen. And there was a controversy happening with him as well, where he used to live in a neighborhood where there was Houthi, Rawafida, little, these type of Shias that are very, very aggressive against the people of Sunnah. And he wrote a contract with them where in the contract it says that we are brothers, and knowing very well that they, insult and curse the companions of the Prophet and whatnot, and do things that quite frankly gets you out of the fold of Islam. So he started to get a lot of negative opinions towards him from prominent scholars at that time, and they started calling him names. And so again, crazy controversies started happening. Brothers started talking crazy. They generally just like, after that sheikh, which I can't remember which sheikh he was, Shaykh Rabee Al Jabiri, rahimahullah, he called him by name. And I'm not saying, when I say rahimahullah, you don't have to agree with everything a sheikh says, but inshallah, Allah have mercy on them, forgive us all of our mistakes and whatnot. But he called him Ikhwani, he called him names, basically, like very explicit. It was very explicit names. And so based on that, and based on the students that really followed that sheikh, they started doing the same thing and started calling the brothers that weren't taking that opinion of that sheikh and that weren't calling him names either. They started to beef with those students. So it became another controversy. And I remember I went to a seminar in Kuwait, and we had a private sitting where there were scholars actually eating, and I was sitting close to them eating as well. And perhaps they might have seen that I wasn't listening to them, but I just could hear. And there was Shaykh Saleh Suhaimi, there was Shaykh Ali Tuwaijiri, there was another Shaykh called Shaykh Hani Break. And they were talking about that same situation about Shaykh Muhammad al-Imam. The way how they were talking about, like how merciful they were, saying, we don't know what the situation is. Perhaps he saw that was the best thing for him to do. Perhaps he saw that was, long term a good thing for him to do to protect the markaz and the sunnah in that area. They were saying things along these lines, speaking with very merciful, good thoughts of the sheikh. At the same time, that controversy was again spreading like wildfire. Brothers arguing very intensely, aggressively in regards of this sheikh and how he is this and how he is not that, and going back and forth, and it created a whole thing. So within this, now when I hear about these shuyukhs again, it reminds me of those situations, and it makes me very grateful for having finally became independent, because learning the Arabic language, it generally gives you that independence in these types of situations, not for you to make your own fatwa, but for you to be able to actually talk and have a deep conversation with the sheikh, call him directly with a clean heart, with an open heart. Say, Ya Sheikh, why, I'm really trying to understand this. And the Sheikh, he will feel if you are sincere in your heart and you really want the truth. And Allah, at the end of the day, He will guide you. So when I hear the name of Shaykh Rabee Al Madkhali, rahimahullah, and how he passed away, may Allah have mercy on his soul, and may his good spread amongst the students of knowledge, and may the bad be covered and forgotten. It reminds me of all of these situations, and I cannot put in words how much did these affect my religion. in a way where at moments, as I said, at moments you start having a type of methodology where you consider everybody, a bad Muslim, innovator, or whatever it might be, unless they know 5 or 6 or 7 scholars and they took good about them. That's the type of methodology I was on, and learning the Arabic language and having direct access to not only conversations with scholars, but hearing them speak as well about these topics and how calm they speak about it. Likewise, I heard prominent shuyukh being asked about this shuyukh who the students were speaking very ill about them, and the prominent shuyukh who are big names like Sheikh Fawzan, for example, it will be very easy with this type of situations, showing that in contrast, when they are easy in these topics, they show that these are things you shouldn't really be concerned about. What you should really be concerned about is learn about your deen, learn about your tawheed, learn about sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I would take this opportunity because I know this type of topics appeals to a certain audience. And if you're watching this, probably a student of knowledge, probably know the Arabic language, perhaps. You perhaps have been in countries seeking knowledge and whatnot. So I wanted to let you know that I started a new YouTube channel called Teach Arabic with Andalusi, where I teach Arabic teachers how to monetize their Arabic skills and build their own institute, so you can actually earn a living by teaching the Arabic language, benefiting other students. And I teach basically how I fund my lifestyle by teaching the Arabic language. So go and check it out. I will leave the links in the description. And if you want to learn the Arabic language and you're a student who wants to learn the Arabic language, just go check the description. There's going to be a video that leads to that. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.